Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How are you, my friends? Welcome to the Merrimack Podcast. I'm so grateful that you're here with me today because we are celebrating 5 years. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's this long. We've been going strong each week for 5 years, and we have done some very interesting podcasts this year, unlike our previous ones, which were completely about grief, death, and dying. So this year we finished up our series about death by fentanyl, and that was around June. And we had done that for almost an entire year, where we spoke with different family members, mostly parents, of those who had died by fentanyl poisoning. This is a traumatic type of death because the people who take these pills think they're getting one thing, and instead they're getting fentanyl, which kills them almost instantly. So this is totally unexpected. People think they're getting a Percocet or something for anxiety, and next thing you know, they've died. And none of their family members ever anticipated this. And so it was really eye opening, many eye opening interviews about what these families have gone through. And I would encourage you to go back to my playlist called Death by Fentanyl and check out some of the interviews I did, the conversations I had with families whose loved ones had died by fentanyl. Then I decided it was time to do something a little bit different. And the reason that was because President Trump had nearly lost his life. And so I felt the need to talk about death and dying. I felt the need to talk about how to handle it. What would happen in your life if you unexpectedly died and your family members were completely devastated by a sudden death? And when a politician, when their life is taken, obviously it's unsettling to say the least. People aren't aware of it, people aren't expecting it. And so I went down the path of talking about the country because we were leading up to the election this year. And although the powers that be did not like it, and my channel started to tank as far as the numbers of people who are watching it, different platforms, social media platforms, including this one, started to shadow ban us. And so, what are you going to do? Life's rough. I just decided it was really important to talk about this, and so I did. And so we did a number of videos, not only on the assassination attempt, but also about the gentleman, Corey Comparami. Excuse me, I'm botching his name. I apologize. He was a wonderful man who lost his life the evening, I think it was the evening or the late afternoon, when President Trump was having a rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, and the bullet caught him in the head, as well as two other individuals who were harmed. And they're going through lengthy rehabs because of the bullets of that young boy. And then a number of weeks later, he was on the golf course and they tried to do it again. And I find this amazing. Many of us here in the States do, because the simple reason that we don't usually have people trying to kill our elected officials or political, uh, not enemies, but those who are against us in an election. So that was going on this year, and I thought it was important to speak up and make people aware that this is not common. Then I also started to talk about praying for our country, and I guess that was another no-no on this channel. But I also thought that was very important because I asked, why should we pray for our countries in these uncertain and crazy times? Um, I just felt it was important that we did. God honors those who pray for each other, and I thought that was important. Then Hurricane Helene and Milton decided to come through Florida and into the Appalachia area, and that is totally uncommon. And it's like having a blizzard in Florida. It's not expected. And so this hurricane, it came into eastern Tennessee and western North Carolina and just decimated the land there. There are still people all these months later who do not have a home, who are living in tents. And unfortunately, the current government just doesn't care. So there, I said it. Because they wanted to give these people $750 only. There is nothing you can do with $750, not to mention that a lot of these individuals who applied for that money, thinking it was for a temporary situation, well, they were denied. So this government we needed to get them out. And we were fortunate enough that we're going to have President Trump in office for the next 4 years. And I pray that the people he's chosen in his cabinet and staff will deal with that as soon as possible. There are Amish families that come from Pennsylvania that were coming down into North Carolina to build their famous tiny homes. And if you're not aware, the Amish are extremely good builders. It's one of their things. And so they would come down each weekend with all kinds of lumber and all the people, the women and the men, to come down, spend the weekend, and build houses for those whose lives were completely decimated in eastern Tennessee and North Carolina, western North Carolina. And after all of that, the governor of Texas, excuse me, the governor of North Carolina and all the agencies decided that they were not up to code. So we have to get these people out of office. They're more interested in regulations than they are with taking care of their constituents. And that just angers me. I just don't understand how someone can say they're not up to code. Well, it's a hell of a lot better than laying on the ground in a tent, especially with the winter coming now. It's now November, early December, and people need shelter. They need shelter right away. So we talked about the election. We thanked our veterans. I told you about my Mary Mac journal collection, which is really important to me because I think people need a way to write out their feelings and give themselves an outlet to just dump all their pain, all their grief. And some of the collections are my journal, my grief journal, my gratitude journal, and my remembrance journal. And you can find them with 5 different covers, and I think they're really beautiful. You can see all my books at www.amazon.com/author/Mary Mac, MARYMAC. So the other thing that I did this year was we prayed for our country and we prepared for uncertain times. We talked about what was needed in these uncertainties. We have no idea what's coming up ahead. So much can be brewing in heavenlies, and I want you being as prepared as you possibly can with food, water, shelter, and the most important amenities to help you survive. And one of the things that was really important to me was I created a small ebook that talks about what if there was no electricity, and could your children and even you and the adults in your life, could you adjust to a tech-free life? Think about that. If you had no tech, if you had no TV, internet, radio, you didn't have the internet, how would you survive? We would go back to the 40s, 1940s, 50s, where we hand washed all the dishes. We took care of all the cleaning by hand. When we did the laundry, we hung it up in the backyard. And if we lose the power grid, or if someone outside of our country intentionally takes down our power grid or our water supply, it's important we know how to do that. So I wrote that book, and you can find it on my page, marymac.info. And so this year, as we move forward, I hope you will join me in continually praying for your nation, because we absolutely need that. And one of the things that I do every year is I honor all the countries and all the people in those countries who come and listen to my podcast. That means so much to me. And so right now, as I have in each of the years previously, I read out all the names of all the countries who have been so gracious to join me and listen in to my podcast. So let me do that now. Here we go. By the way, we are now up to 128 countries, which is phenomenal to me, because I remember in my first year how I was trying to get every state in the United States. And I was at the end, I was looking for South Dakota, and I think it was New Mexico were the two last states I needed. And a lot of friends in the podcast community were gracious enough to make sure I had all 50 states. So I thank you all for listening in. I want so much for you to remember that I love you so much. I'm so happy that you join me each week. And I like to remind you that if you have questions you'd like me to answer, not only about this new dangerous world we're living in, but also grief and bereavement and death and dying. And I'm here for you. I appreciate you. And I just wish you the very, very best in the year ahead. So let me thank all the people around the world in their respective countries. Algeria, Argentina, Armenia, Australia, Austria, Azerbaijan, Bahamas, Bangladesh, Belgium, Belarus, Belize, Bermuda, Botswana, Brazil, Brunei, Bulgaria, Burkina Faso, Cambodia, Canada, Chile, China, Colombia, Costa Rica, Croatia, the Czech Republic, Chechnya, Denmark, Dominica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Egypt, Eswatini, Ethiopia, Finland, France, Georgia, Germany, Guernsey, Ghana, Greece, Guam, Guatemala, Hong Kong, Hungary, India, Indonesia, Iraq, Iran, Ireland, Isle of Man, Israel, Italy, Jamaica, Japan, Jersey, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Korea, which is South Korea, Latvia, Lebanon, Luxembourg, Malawi, Malaysia, Maldives, Malta, Mexico, Moldova, Mongolia, Montenegro, Morocco, Myanmar, Namibia, Nepal, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Nigeria, Northern Ireland, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Palau, Panama, Peru, the Philippines, Poland, Portugal, Puerto Rico, Qatar, Romania, the Russian Federation, Rwanda, St. Lucia, Saudi Arabia, Scotland, Senegal, Serbia, Sierra Leone, Singapore, Slovenia, Slovakia, South Africa, South Korea, Spain, Sri Lanka, Swaziland, Sweden, Switzerland, Syria, Taiwan, Tajikistan, Tanzania, Thailand, Togo, Tokelau, Trinidad and Tobago, Tunisia, Turkey, Uzbekistan, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, United States, Venezuela, Vietnam, Wales, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. And we thank you. We love you. And we're so grateful you take the time. Would you please remember to subscribe at www.themarymacshow.com. You can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. We'd like you to subscribe to both of those places. That would help us a lot so that each week you would receive the latest podcast. So we bless you and we hope that you have an incredible holiday season. In the weeks ahead, of course, I will have some more podcasts that help you prepare for Christmas, Hanukkah, and other holidays at the end of year. And as we move into the new year, we will talk about developing a new you in this new year because we've been through a lot. We've been through an awful lot. And we have to take stock of where we're moving toward. So I send blessings to you, and I hope that this coming year is more healthful, that you'll have greater health, that you will have more prosperity, and that you will be loved by those you love. Thank you for being here. I wish you the very, very best.